Hey, the better rifle. Drop the gun! Oh, shit! I'm hit. I'm okay. But I'm not gonna die.
All right. Welcome to Badges, Bullets, and Blunders, the show that tells funny cop stories from real people who live them. I'm the host, Travis Harless. Today, our guests are Officer Colton and Senior Officer Fuji. Officer Colton, this is your first time with us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What did you do before you became a cop? How long have you been a police officer, and what are some of the assignments that you've worked since you've been an officer?
I didn't do anything before I was a cop. I came straight out of college, straight from BC, where Lieutenant Jason was our teacher at the time. So I came out and got hired immediately. I've been here 9 years. Was a part of the defensive tactics. Did 3.5 years in the gang unit. And I've been on the SWAT team for about 3 years as well.
Okay. And then Fuji, we talked to you about it a little before, but give us your background again.
I worked with an oil field company prior to coming to this job. I was laid off with like 1 billion other people across the country when the oil fields dried up. And then went to the academy with this guy and was in the gang unit for a little bit. I'm on the SWAT team as well, and I'm currently in Impact dealing with our homeless issues here.
All right. You guys spent a lot of time as partners, both in patrol and then in the gang unit, right?
Yes.
Long time.
A lot of time. You guys were notorious for finding vehicles that would run or people driving vehicles that would run away. And I got the pleasure of supervising you on a shift, and my partner and I referred to you guys as our heat-seeking missile car. If we wanted a problem solved, we could send you guys out to get something solved, find stolen cars, might not get them back in the condition that we wanted, but you can't win them all. So let's talk.
That's the driver of that car's choice, not our choice.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about some of your guys' experience riding together. You said something about to mention to you your first day.
Yeah, initially how we got paired up real quick. I never once in my life wanted to work on the west side of town. I always thought west side was the weak side. Mm-hmm. And then one of my good friends that became a sergeant called me, and he was like, "Hey, dude, come meet up with me at Sam Lynn." He's like, "I want to talk to you." He's like, "Hey, will you come work with me on the west side?" And I was like, "Nah." And then he's like, "Well, here's a list of all the people. Pick somebody, and you can be my 2-man in the central." And then so Fuji's name was on there. It's like, that's my academy buddy, But at that point, we had never worked together. Mm-hmm. So I was like, "All right, cool. I'll come work for you." And then I was like, "I'll take Fuji." He's like, "All right, cool." So first night, we link up, and as soon as he hops in the car, Fuji's kind of walking in. I don't know if you ever been around him enough to know his demeanor. Like when he's tired, he's not very happy. Mm-hmm. So he looked angry getting in my car. So immediately I have the Tokyo Drift theme song blasting in the car for when he gets in. And then he gets in and just shakes his head at me. And I was like, "I'm kind of hungry. What are you feeling like to eat?" And I was like, "You want to get sushi or what?" And he's just like, "Is this how it's going to go?" And I was like, "All right, let's go." So our first night, Fuji's complaining to me for a little bit. Like it's been a while since he's gotten in a pursuit. It's been a while since he's got to chase anybody or have some fun in the job. And then so...
because I was on the west side for the shift prior.
Yeah, so. Which that scared me because we talked about that. And then so we go 10-8 for the night, and probably within 2 hours of the shift, we're driving, and we spotlight this car, and we see this dude just kind of give us a classic oh shit look. Mm-hmm. And it's a little beat up. I think it was a Honda, was it? Mm-hmm. Or Honda or Toyota, one of the two. I don't remember.
Why would you assume that I would know that?
Because you know cars.
It was a Nissan.
All right, so it was a Nissan.
It was a Nissan.
So we both look at each other like, let's check that real quick. We flip around on it, and the dude just blacks out and starts booking it. And then so I black out for no reason to start booking it. And then he's pulling up in this apartment complex. And so Fuji jumps out, sees a passenger at this time. And then by this point, the guy had ghost rode his car where it's rolling in front of him. And then so Fuji gets out and runs around it, and he doesn't realize that it's rolling. Mm. So there's a parked car in front of it. The guy runs through. Fuji gets out and starts chasing him. And then Fuji's probably about half a second away because the cars just smashed into each other. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, he almost just died. And then he kind of takes off into the darkness. And I'm trying to put out all the radio traffic because this happened within like a split second. And by the end result of that, we lost that guy. So we lost that first battle. But what else happened during that? We set up like this gigantic perimeter
yeah.
around the entire park. And we had random cops going up to hobos like, it's him. We run over there. No, it's not him. I don't know if it's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our first couple hours. And then I'd say within another hour of that.
How long you guys been cops at that point?
Oh, geez. It's 4 years,
Yeah,
about
4
4 and a half years.
Oh, okay. So it's been a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've primarily been on the east side the entire time before that. And then me and him had never linked up on a shift before that time at that point.
Okay.
But, yeah, that was our first ever traffic stop.
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, this could be fun. And
Yeah.
then throughout the rest of the night, how many more arrests did we get that night?
2, at least 2, because there was we had the stolen vehicle that was rolling on Weibel. He didn't run.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had one more pursuit that night after that. I can't even remember what that was.
I don't know. Was this somewhere in the
was,
same general area?
Yeah, it was because I remember like first day I was like, this is gonna be wild. This is just about to be wild, dude.
Yeah, there's nothing but blaring music and driving fast and chasing people from the day one.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun. That was our first day.
Yeah, you guys were averaging one rolling stolen vehicle every night for a while there, and at least one gun arrest a week, and at least one pursuit a week. But yeah, what you said you got beat up by Fuji before?
Yeah, I was a victim of his violence in the past. You want to tell the story on that one, and then I can correct.
Yeah,
your lies?
because I'll say how it actually went, because he likes to embellish a lot on this story. So we had just been talking about something happened. We were talking about batonings, and I was like, I've never batoned a guy before, and I mean, I've been an officer for at that point like 4 years, and I'm like, I've never batoned a guy.
He uses the nunchucks.
Yeah, the nunchucks. Yeah.
Kept him under the seat.
So, like, as we're telling this story, there's this red Charger, and it's the same thing. Like, spotlight him, and the guy does like the when the light hits him, he does the wide eye, like, oh my god, and then he starts driving, like, starts hitting turns at high speed, and you're like, it's not a normal way to drive. So we start chasing this guy, and he ends up crashing into a fence and running down this alley. And you know how the alleys are on the east side of town. This was like the next shift, so we're on the east side at this point. Those alleys are all like
Well lit.
gravel and yeah, well lit.
Well lit with security sensor lights.
Yeah. You know, they all look like they were freshly paved 50 years ago. So we're running, and the dude ends up trying to hit a fence, and Colton kind of spears the dude into the fence. And he wouldn't let go of the fence. He's like holding onto it with both hands, and Colton's trying to pull this dude off the fence. And so it would probably because we were just talking about it, I was like, I'm going to baton him in the arm to get him off the fence. Well, when I swing it, since it came down at an angle, it hit like fence and barely hit his arm at the same time. And I was like, well, that didn't work at all. And then Colton ends up pulling this dude off the fence, gets him to the ground. The guy's face down, and he starts kind of like doing like a push-up while Colton's got him like around the waist. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to run up and hit him. And as I'm like running up and go to swing, I'm doing like the slide to home base at the same time. And so my swing had like no power to it whatsoever. And I tried to hit him like one more time, and I couldn't get a good footing or nothing. So I wasn't getting good hits. And I was like, all right, this is fucking dumb. So I just ended up throwing the baton, and then we just ended up grabbing him and getting him into custody. And then he starts complaining about, oh, you hit my arm so bad. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, I did not get a good hit at all on that one. But
So what really happened was
that's 100% what happened.
the dude crashed into the fence of the 178, and then he foot bails. I start chasing him. I try to push him in the back to get him to fall, and he just regains his footing. And I was like, well, that didn't work. I got to keep running.
You just boosted him.
Yeah, exactly. I made him
Power
faster.
up. Power up.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to chase this guy, and he goes and tries to jump the fence, and I just kind of spear him, like Fuji said, into the fence. And then I realize that while I'm trying to take him down, he's just clinging to this thing for dear life. And then he's screaming no at the top of his lungs. He's just, no, no. And Fuji comes up, and I hear the baton extend. And I'm trying to grab this guy's arm off of the fence. As I'm grabbing it, I just see Fuji come up and just, ah! And at the same time, I'm like, uh-oh. And it just cracks me right on the elbow and just drops my arm off of him. But the second, I don't know if you swung once or twice from
I
the
can't
top.
remember because I just remember I was like, no,
I
this
kind of
is
blacked
working.
out from pain from the first hit.
Oh, God.
But then I ripped the dude off the fence and we get on the ground. And then Fuji looked like you ever seen like a 2-year-old try to play t-ball? He's swinging around, has no idea how to swing it. They're slipping and falling.
Oh my God.
Like the bat weighs 2 times too heavy for him.
You're gonna tell a guy whose people grew up with swords that I can't swing a baton?
Half of your people, yeah. Who's your other half that was swinging on that day? I don't think he hit him one time.
I hit him at least twice because he had 2 tiger stripes. But
I don't know. I had a pretty big red mark on my though. I was hurt. Yeah, that was a good time though.
Maybe you shouldn't have been resisting.
Yeah.
yeah, just trying to get you out of the way.
Talk to me about the Mustang and the Honda.
You want to tell that one?
Okay, so there's these two. There's this Mustang and this Honda Accord, and initially we couldn't tell they were driving in tandem. The Mustang was obviously it's loud and he's just driving reckless all over the place. So
We picked him up on Blunders first, right?
yeah, they were heading south, and so this was more during the day, so there was some traffic. So we're trying to get around traffic to get behind him, and we end up lighting him up, and then both cars end up running. The Mustang's going, and then the Honda's going, and we're like, well, this is kind of strange. We get a little 2 for here,
Yeah.
2 for 1 special.
Yeah,
But,
trick is to pull over first.
oh yeah, that 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you pull over, we're gonna go after who's still running.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And it took a second for it to click because we're like, we don't know if this car's trying to get out of our way, so we
Yeah,
can chase the
'cause
other
it
car, or like what the hell's going on. So we're
Yeah.
just doing circles at this point.
It is, yeah. As soon as the Mustang turns, the Honda turns, and then we're like, that's strange. And then the Mustang makes another turn, Honda makes another turn. We're like, okay, I guess these guys are both going. I was like, this is how it's gonna be. So they end up just like circling this like same block like over and over and over.
Did they stay in tandem the whole time?
They stayed in tandem the whole time
for a while.
You know,
Yeah, and they're circling this like same block, and we're just making this big square, and then the Honda ends up running it wide, and then hits up on the curb and everything like that. As we pass it, we're like, well, we're still gonna go after the Mustang because he's still running.
Mm-hmm.
As we pass it, we kind of look back, and there's a chick foot bailing from the car, but we're kind of like
driver.
we're putting it out.
Yeah.
We're putting it out, and so we're like, somebody else can go deal with her. We're gonna keep going after this Mustang, and he ends up leaving the area and takes off, and they end up canceling the pursuit because it's daytime and there's a lot of traffic and stuff. So we go back to the Honda, and it's still up on the curb, but nobody's around, and we're like, we'll just hang out. Maybe they think we're gone and they'll come back for their car. Well, later on, there comes this chick walking up, coming back for her car, and a little Charger comes to drop her off, and we make a little stop on the Charger. And I don't know if you want to go into that part of that story.
I don't know if we should. Long story short, with the Charger, we pulled up to it and we contacted the guy driving it, and he's on probation. You know, he's a typical old little boy. So we get him in the car.
Priors for sales.
Yeah. So we start searching his stuff.
But with the priors for sales, that's what piqued our interest. We're like,
So we had an interest in this dude, and so we tell another officer, like, hey, like, because he starts asking a bunch of questions, like, don't look for this car, please. Like, we're going to try to do something with this.
Mm-hmm.
And then so a little bit later, we hear that he's chasing the car.
So, like, if you see this car, just avoid it. Don't
do
stop it.
Yeah,
not
100%.
Do not stop
this car.
Yeah, like, please do not contact this car. If you see it, call us. And he's like, okay, perfect. Yeah. And at the time, this dude's pretty new. And so immediately, like, we hear him put out the plate, he goes failure to yield, and we're like, gosh dang it. We're like, you motherfucker. So we call him when it gets canceled because he gets absolutely dusted by this thing.
Yeah.
And then we're like, what happened? And he's like, oh, well, it was a car that you guys chased. I'm like, I know. Why are you chasing it? I asked you just to call me if you see the car. He's like, oh, well, I didn't. We're like,
clearly.
cool, thanks.
Clearly.
So, like, the next day, and we had some pretty cool bosses on this shift, so we were pretty comfortable with chasing cars at this point. And we see this car, and it was coming out of a hotel in a pretty bad area of town, known for narcotic sales. So we're like, this might be a good time. So we go throw a stop on it, and Fuji's driving this day. We go to throw a stop on it, and just hammers the gas. This is like a Scat Pack, Charger, and this thing is just absolutely dusting us. It's like four intersections ahead of us the entire time.
At this point, we have no expectation of catching it. But it's still pretty fun, so we're still gonna chase it. Like,
yeah, but we could see taillights, so we just kept going with it and trying to keep up with it, and we ended up getting canceled at like we started probably I don't know, close to like
3 miles back.
yeah. Like we started from like where the hotels are, and we ended where like all the rich people live. And we're like, oh my Lord. And then we get canceled. And we're like, how fast are we going? I don't know. But, we got to talk to you about that one. Yeah, that was a good time, though.
More like chewed out.
Yeah.
I've been chewed out before.
I've been chewed out before.
Oh, man.
Nice. So did you guys ever find him?
After that, did we ever take that guy into custody? I don't remember.
We did, but he didn't have like a sales case on him.
I think he had like felony warrants at that point, but he just got arrested again. They got a pretty good pinch off him with like 5 pounds of dope. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Get some court probation now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Now that Devin Trump's coming in, we might actually go to jail. Super felony probation.
Oh, man.
Nice. All right. So talk to me about the LPR reader story. What's an LPR?
It's a license plate reader. I actually used to drive the LPR car, and it was the most annoying thing in the world. But at this point, that car, we weren't in the gang unit yet, so I didn't have it yet, and it was assigned to the gang unit. And so, like we was talking about, we were getting in pursuits all the time, and me and him are driving, and it's about that time, like 3 a.m. or so. We're like, all right, it's time to get some food. We're hungry. So we're like, where should we go eat? And we're kind of chit-chatting about it. We're like, Jack in the Box? Yeah. So we're getting ready to go to Jack in the Box.
One of the 3 places open at that time.
And he's driving. I'm sitting shotgun, and so Fuji's got his blinders up, and he's driving Jack in the Box, and we're coming up on Union near the Blade, and I see this just hunk of shit truck come pulling out of the gas station, and then I was like, let's run that truck, then we'll go get food. It was never a good idea if you plan on doing something.
Yeah.
And so we run it, and sure as shit, the little MDT alert, little Mario Kart sound pops up. I was like, well,
there goes Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Box,
God,
dude. I was like, it'll be easy though. We'll take him to jail. Maybe he'll run. We'll see. So we light him up, and he pulls into right off to the right of that, right in the hood. And he stops for a quick second. And this truck is like loud as all hell. No cats, no nothing.
Yeah.
And we start to get out, and we're kind of playing it slow because we're like, I haven't seen the lights go back and forth between park and reverse
yet.
So
when you hit the park and then reverse lights flashes real quick.
Yeah. You hit the little white flash.
Yeah,
we're
kind of
going to drive.
Yeah. So we kind of pop our doors, start to lean out, and all of a sudden just wham! Tires start smoking, and he gets going. So we start chasing this dude all through the hood. And this dude is just in that specific area, you know what I'm talking about? It's got those big ass dips.
Yep.
And so this dude's just bottoming out, jumping, and we're just falling right along with him. And then we end out onto MLK, which is from Ralston, I think it is, which there's no exit right there.
Yeah.
So it's just like a big curb and the street. And so he jumps it in this big old 4-wheel drive Tundra, I think it was.
So it's like a cul-de-sac.
Yes.
And then on the other side of the cul-de-sac, it's like a sidewalk, and then you're on the road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we hit this thing, just boom, our front and then rear tires hit, and we jump out onto MLK. The dude goes wrong way at this point, and we get to the right side of the road, and we're kind of paralleling him, and he jumps over, and he's losing it. And this whole time, like, we're starting to feel a little like thumping in the back of our car. Our tires are just going. So we start bumping, and this dude just loses it, and he crashes into a fence in front of a house and gets out and tries to foot bail. And me and Fuji are already on him. We get him in custody, and one of the newer officers at the time comes up to us, and he asks us, he's like, you guys getting all kinds of pursuits, like, all the time. Like, what's going on? And we're like, hey, dude, so here's a trick. I installed these little license plate readers behind the grill of my car in the front and the back. I was like, that way, if any stolen cars pass us, I pulled up this app on my phone that's for buying concert tickets because it looks like a legit app. It's like AFX or something like that. And so this dude's looking, and he's like, what the hell? And we're like, yeah, it's connected to this. I connected it to the DMV. I just had to provide, like, my actual, like, law enforcement stuff. We're just messing with him at this point. And then, so he's like, wow, that's amazing. So,
all right.
Like a few days later, we're getting another pursuit, and some people are talking, and we'll just say this is Officer Jose. He comes up to us, and he's like, hey, I was over here, and the sergeant's talking, man, like, you got to be careful about who you tell these license plate reader stories to, because, that they're talking about it, like, how you guys are getting in so much stuff. And then he's like, I don't want you guys to get in trouble. And we're looking at him like, what the hell are you talking about?
And he's like almost forgotten about it at that point. Like,
he's like, the license plate readers you put on your car. And I was like, Oh my lord, like, dude, you're
We're
dumb as shit.
100% fucking with you on that. License plate readers off Amazon? Like, what kind of
Like,
shit
they
is
don't.
this?
I don't know if you Google it or not, but they don't sell those on there. And he just fully believed us, and so we told him we were lying. He's like, "I'm new. You can't do that to me." But the word had gotten around, as typical as it is, and we started getting phone calls from other partners and other friends. It was like, "Hey, where'd you guys buy those license plate readers?" Trying to get me some of those. And we're like, "We don't have license plate readers."
Did you get them on adamandeve.com?
Yeah. You know what's funny is I forgot about it. Is where I actually got called in when I went into the gang unit initially. Called in by the sergeant at the time, and he was asking me about those, and he's like, "Do you have LPRs in your grill?" And I'm like, "No." Like, you can look at my car if you want, sir, but I don't have them.
Got them on Amazon.
Yeah, which is funny enough, because then after that, he's like, "Why don't you go take the LPR car?"
Yeah.
So I got the LPR car.
I hated the
after
LPR
that.
car.
Yeah.
So he dealt with the LPR car before. I never have, but
Yeah.
when it goes off, it starts making this annoying, like...
It's the most
like-
annoying sounds in the world. Every time you drive past a car, it scans a plate. So every time we're driving, it's ding, 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 ding. And then you hit a stolen car, and it sounds like a freaking tsunami alarm.
Yeah, it's like...
going off.
And I didn't know how to work the system, so I'm sitting shotgun, and we're chasing a stolen car, and this thing's going... And I'm like... I close the screen that pops up when it shows it. But then after like 5 seconds, it like resets, and it's like, oh, like there's a stolen car in front of you, and it goes off again. This thing goes off like 30 times during this pursuit, and I just keep closing it. And he's over here like, you gotta like exit out of this, and I'm like, I don't know how to work this fucking thing. Like, I don't know. So it's like I'm putting out radio
getting so
traffic, and
mad.
there's like a tsunami alarm going off in the background of all our radio traffic, and I'm like, I hate this car.
He
I
was
hate
so
this.
upset during that pursuit.
hate
Like, he
this
was
car.
screaming at me in between
I hate this
transmissions.
fucking
Like,
car.
how do I do this? And I'm laughing at him.
Dude, it was chaotic. There was like just so much shit happening. I'm over here just like, yeah, we're still continuing northbound speeds. We're at 50. How the fuck do you turn this fucking thing off? What the fuck? We just made a westbound turn on to Stockdale. Dude, fucking help me out here. What the fuck, dude?
I'm just laughing my ass off. He's so mad.
It was,
I figured Fuji was more tech savvy than that.
yeah, don't let the eyes fool you.
Unless
I really
it's
don't know
with the
shit about
camera.
computers.
Yeah.
I'm not good with computers, but I'll take a hell of a panoramic shot, though, dude.
Team photographer.
Team photographer.
Yeah, I thought you were going to tell me that it was picking up additional GTAs while you were chasing one GTA.
No, not that one.
reminds
No,
me
yeah,
of-
that's that. That was the.
You guys
Niles and Mount
you guys had a I think it was a GTA pursuit, and you had the guy in custody, and you guys were on your way to jail with this one GTA suspect. And then I hear you get on the radio again, and that you found another GTA that's on the move while you still have the suspect from the first one in the back.
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Yeah. So that was actually our. That was our. I think that was the third pursuit of the night. Actually.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't remember what the first one. I think the first one wasn't a GTA.
We don't chase cars with suspects in the back, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's not a thing.
We
We made him think we were about to, though. He was kind of scared.
That was the funniest
Hey,
part.
man, you ready?
It was like Super Troopers.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you
look
ready?
like Mexico.
Yeah, we had one pursuit. And I can't even remember the details of the first one, but I remember it wasn't a stolen car. It was a guy that was strapped up. He had a gun on him, and then we took him to jail. We cleared that. We came back out, and then that's when that pursuit popped off, and we ended up way out east, like off
It was off like
Fairfax or
Niles
somewhere.
and
It
yeah,
was
like Niles and Fairfax. Yeah.
And we chased that dude all over the place. And I don't remember the details behind that one, but that was a GTA. So we're coming back westbound on Niles from out by Fairfax, and we got this dude in the back of the car. So we're driving back, and pretty frequently we would pull up our little hot sheet that told us all the stolen cars and everything.
Yeah.
And the easy ones to remember that like spelled like words in the middle.
Yeah, like it'll say like 9 ARM. So like, oh, ARM. Cool, that's easy to remember.
Yeah.
We'll remember that. Or if it's just a super not common car, it'd be like, oh, green Range Rover is stolen. We're like, okay, people don't really steal Range Rovers, so that should stand out.
We put a little sticky note on the computer,
Yeah.
and we just type in like which ones to remember and what to look for, and so we had a pretty good idea of the cars in the area at the time, and so we're driving back by, and we're at Niles and Mount Vernon, and there's a gas station right there, the Fast Trip, and we look over, and Fuji's like, "Hey, is that one car?"
Yeah, it was like a brand new white Acura TSX or something. It was kind of a nice
That'll be
car.
the only detail he remembers out of this. What car it is?
Oh yeah, nice.
we see that, and from that spot, we had a little like stakeout area that we could kind of stay hidden from. That we always sat on cars that were at the gas station.
Yeah.
'Cause there's like lights pointed in; they can't see us from across the way. So we're down the street like half a mile, and we have a 1015 RSD in the back seat. And so we flip around. He's like, "What are you guys doing? Like, what are you guys about to do?" And we're like, "There's another stolen car right there."
You ready for another one, dude?
Yeah, so we tell him like, "Hey, dude, you ever been in a police pursuit?" And he's like, "No." We're like, "Do you want to get in one?" And he's like, "No."
He's like, absolutely
We're
not.
sitting there talking to him like, "Why? It'll be fun, dude. Like, you're on the other side of this for once. You'll have a buddy." And he was just freaking the hell out in the back seat. He wanted nothing to do with it. And then after a while, for some reason, this is what I remember, is he's like, "Well, kind of, is it fun?" So
It's lots of fun.
Yeah. So by this point, I think Fuji got on the radio and he's like, just kind of broadcast all the officers in the area like, "Hey, there's a stolen car sitting here at this gas station." He's like, "But we have an arrestee in the back.
can't do anything
so
about
we
it."
can't do anything. Can somebody else come here and do this?" And so people start heading this way, and then as usual, is we're like, "All right, they'll find it. We'll take off." It's like any other time we decide to pull off of something, immediately it starts leaving.
Yeah.
And so we pull out and it starts going, and we're like, "What do we do?" And so we're like, "The vehicle's about to go northbound."
Yeah.
And so we pull out behind it, and it starts going, and we start trailing it. And the dude's like, "Please don't, please don't." He's in the back seat. And we're like, "You better buckle up, homie." And so we start going. It gets up to up by the hospital, I think, and other people are starting to show up at this time. And so we let them get ahead of us. And then, so we still have our 1015. So we're like number 3, kind of trailing behind them. And we see the initial cars lighted up to begin with. And then that car just guns it and takes off running. And then so I just punch it a little. And the dude's like, "No!" He's sitting in the back seat. And so we go through one light. And then we take a left and go start heading to the jail. But yeah, that dude was freaking out. But yeah, that was our 3 pursuits in one night. And then got some other people some fun on the way back.
Nice. Talk about the Redflex.
Oh, that
You
pursuit.
had a Chevy Spark, but
You can
then
talk about that.
started with Redflex.
Initially there was
There was cameras involved. We'll let him handle it.
I got you, don't worry. So the Redflex uses a Nikon S76. No.
Man,
So we see this. It was like this old green Ford sedan, and we light it up. He ends up running. He didn't go far. It was probably only like a 30-second pursuit, and then they canceled it. So we're like way back, and he keeps going, and he drives through one of the Redflex cameras, which is like a red light camera. And when you go through, there's like a ton of flashing and lights and stuff when it takes a photo. So we're like half mile back, and we see all the lights go off, and we're like, "Oh, nice, he drove through the camera. Let's just go pull the pictures, and we'll see who's driving."
Yeah. And we were very
So-
upset because we weren't used to our pursuits getting canceled.
Yeah.
And it was different sergeant at the time,
Different
so we
sergeant
were
at the
pretty
time.
upset. We're like, "We're going to get this guy."
Yeah, so we go, we pull his photo from the Redflex camera, and we're trying to get him ID'd. He's not linked to the car, obviously, because it's one of those cars that's like
Probably stolen.
been sold and bought like 10 times before, whatever. But so we end up having this guy's photo, and we've been trying to ID this guy, and it was probably like a week or 2 later, we go and hit one of the shady motels on the east side, and we usually just roll through and run plates to see if there's any stolen cars there. And you get your typical old Honda Civics, old Suburbans and everything like that. And then there's this little yellow Chevy Spark that looks like a little toy remote control car kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this dude's like, "Wouldn't that be funny if this is the stolen car?" And I'm like, we're like, "Yeah, that'd be fucking funny." Run it. God damn it, that's a stolen car. So we're like, all right, well, we're gonna wait. We'll wait up the street and see. There's only 2 exits to this place, so we just wait up the street and we can see both exits. And
We had a stakeout place for that hotel,
yeah,
too.
we had stakeout places everywhere. But with our luck, we were only parked for a couple minutes, and then we're like, "Shit, the car's pulling out." So we follow it, light it up. It ends up running, and granted, this thing's probably using like a 40 horsepower motor, so this was not a super fast pursuit.
It looked like a toaster with wheels.
Oh yeah. So this dude, but he was driving the shit out of it. Like he's hitting dips, and sparks are coming out. Sparks are coming out from under the Spark.
Yeah.
And
Spark was sparking.
he ends up coming down California, and he ends up moving the wrong way. And right as we were getting ready to put out, if Air 1 is up, it was like a light of God comes down in Air 1's spotlight, just right on the car. We're like,
Before that,
perfect.
remember when he first went wrong way, it was like heavy traffic at the time. And so we stayed right way and we're like, cancel the pursuit. Like, this dude's about to kill somebody.
he's all
and we
over.
see him go behind the businesses right there, like by, what's that place called? Canes?
The Canes, yeah.
So he
Raising
goes
Canes.
behind it. And so, there's 2 ways to go around back there. And so we're like, oh, let's just go the other way. So we cut down and then go behind it. And we're just head to head with this dude.
Oh,
he just turns in front of us. And then that's when the beam of justice
and then the beam of light
came down.
comes down.
Yeah.
And he ends up going into a apartment complex parking lot, and this was probably one of the longer foot pursuits I've had because this dude we couldn't see him at this point, and we were literally just watching Air One's light, and we're just running towards the light, like going after this dude.
We had no idea where we were running at all.
And then right as we find him, we get him into custody, and we're all breathing hard, and I was like, hey, this is that guy we were looking for. Colton's like, oh yeah, this is the guy from the Redflex. Same dude.
I'll tell you that I've never seen a car jump that high.
Oh yeah, on
On McDonald
McDonald's.
coming down to Bell Terrace, there's just a monster dip in the road, and he's probably pushing this thing as fast as it can go at like 60, and then so it just bottoms out, in which 60 for that is pretty fast, and the car's not fast. And I swear to you, it could have cleared 2 of Fuji. It was just standing there.
Got up in the air.
Yeah, we got him in custody. We asked him about it because we started searching the car afterwards, and he's got like 2 gigantic 15-inch subwoofers in the back that were just like ghetto rigged up to the battery somehow. And we're like, "How the hell did you survive that, dude? Like your car's thrashed." He's like, "That was the most scariest thing ever." He's like, I don't know, man. I regret everything." He's like, "I'm pretty sure I smacked my head." He's like, "I don't know if I went unconscious or not," but he was all over the damn place. Yeah. So it went from the one pursuit with him, getting caught on the Redflex, and then the dumbest car in the world to ever be stolen and ended up being him again. That was funny. Yeah, we ended up chasing a lot of the same people. We were at like
Oh my god.
Paglia sends us on this, like, hey, put yourselves on a special. Don't go 10-8 until you find this guy, because he's burging all these places, like off of Ming, and we're on the west side at the time. And then so we started just going on a manhunt for this dude. Because he's got like,
is this before COVID?
yeah, it was right before COVID.
Okay.
And then so we're a West Side car on shift 1 at night, and then so we're all over the place looking for this dude, and we end up going to that little, the Hood Alley Serrano right there. So we go in the north alley of that, and we pull up to these guys, and we're like, kind of looking at them, we're like, let's go talk to these guys. So we jump out, and we go talk to them, and then we get him ID. We asked him his probation parole. He's on probation, so I search him real quick, and then we're like, "What's your name?" And he was, what did he say?
He said, "Oh, my name's."
Yeah.
We're like,
and the Fuji's like, "Okay." He just walks away. I'm like, wait. I was like,
I completely-
think this is him.
I am super bad with names and faces. I'm gonna throw that out there.
Yeah.
So I hook him up, and obviously it was the dude that we had been looking for. So fast forward up until it was after COVID when we chased him again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was with you guys. And then so we're on nights on the east side now, and it's late. And it's probably like 4 or 5 in the morning. We're like, all right, it's time to go type, shut it down for the night. And we're driving down Oak, and where all those businesses are, not the hotels, but there's like mechanic shops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we see this dude just booking it across the street, and he's carrying this bag, and he sees us, and he starts walking, and then just chucks the bag into this dirt field. And he's the only person out there. And we're like, that was weird, like like not inconspicuous at all. So we're like watching him. We're like, should we go jam him up?
Like,
and
yeah,
we're
let's
like,
go.
they're like, yeah, we'll
take
go talk to him. And all of a sudden, this brand new like C7 or C6 red
Corvette.
just, boom, comes bombing out of where that dude just ran from, and we're like, what the hell? And so we light it up immediately, and it just takes off through the hood. And
Did he go northbound?
no,
he
he
went
went eastbound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, straight across on Dracaena, I think. And he makes it probably 3 intersections down in the neighborhood and
loses
just
it.
crashes
Yeah,
out. The
just
car was way
loses
too much for him. And then he foot bails, and we start chasing him. This dude was like a track athlete. And then so it takes forever. We end up getting the guy in custody, and we're like, wait, what's your name? He's like, we're like, no, it's him again.
It's this guy.
Using the same name?
Yeah, we ended up chasing that dude like 3 times, I
Yeah,
think.
he's-
Yeah, he was just a typical serial burglar that liked to get caught. Remember the other guy we chased because of him at the taco shop at the restaurant? Remember the guy with the warrant?
Oh my god.
You want
Do you want us to go into that one? Yeah. So we get a burglar alarm at a like a little Frosty Freeze place or something, and it was the drive-through window. So we drive past, and as we're coming down the street, there's this Hispanic dude walking, and as we pass him, he's doing like the look back. like look back, and we're kind of like, oh, that seems strange. He looks very suspicious. And we drive up to the drive-through window of this business, and it's all smashed and slit open and everything. And we're like, oh god, like that
cash
was
registers outside.
like,
of the
god
window.
dang it, that was the guy. So we flip around, and as soon as we flip, he just starts running, and he runs through this apartment complex. We're still in our car, we're just chasing him. And then we end up hopping out, and he's runs across plans and into that little trailer park
home,
area, and he goes to take a turn on the grass, and this dude just absolutely is like slips and falls, and he smacks his face like on the
knocked
ground,
himself
like,
out.
and we just like run up and like cuff him real quick and sit him up, and he kind of busted his face open, and we throw him in our car. We get back to the business, and the owner had showed up at this point and pull surveillance, and it's like 2 black dudes breaking in, and we're like looking back at our guy like, oh my god, this is not the guy. Like, and we're like, dude, what the hell? Like, why did you run, man? He's like, oh, I think I got a warrant. And we're like, oh my god, what the hell, dude?
We're like holding by his jacket. Did you break in here? Do you look dark on video? He's like, I didn't do it. I swear.
Like, oh
I had
my
a warrant.
God, dude, I had a warrant. It was a non-extraditable warrant. We couldn't even, I was like, we
Like, out of
can't even
town.
do anything about this warrant, man. What are you talking about?
He
Like,
just looks at us. I'm sorry.
God.
Yeah, we gave him a ticket and let him go.
But there was a little bit of blood on the counter from breaking in, and we ended up like, I've never saw blood. Like, oh, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
So we swab it, and then come to find out a couple years later, we ended up running Mixon's name for some random thing, and I was like, we arrested him on plans? I was like, I don't remember arresting him on plans. And I read the report, and apparently that was his blood on the counter. It was him breaking into the business. We were like, God, that guy, dude. Like, he just can't help himself, can he? Like,
It's weird he wasn't in jail after you guys had arrested him so many times.
yeah, I think it's one of those like 30th times a charm.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, like we said, super felony probation.
For real this time.
for real.
We really mean it.
Really mean it.
Yeah, that dude was a menace to businesses. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, we chased that dude a lot.
Well, yeah, one good thing about California is that it just gives you a lot of practice as an officer. You know what I mean? Because if they just
Yeah.
kept him in jail, then, you wouldn't get all that experience.
Exactly. You get real familiar with the same people all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you out here again? Well, they dropped the case. Insufficient evidence? No, there was evidence.
I'm as surprised as you are.
Yeah, I told them I did it. They said go home.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, they had me on video in my DNA. It's just-
But they couldn't prove it was me.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it got ridiculous for a while.
Okay, so this guy, he would break into beauty salons. And this is where I learned how much beauty supplies are worth, because I was like, why is this guy breaking into beauty salons and
yeah.
like stealing hair curlers and
Shampoo.
like he would go in and take beauty products like nail polish and all this, and on one of them I went and took the report, and I'm like, all right, he stole this, and I'm like, all right, how much are the 4 hair curlers worth? And she's like, well, those are like 140 a piece, and I'm like 140 for all 4? No, like 140 a piece, and I'm like, fuck, like, okay, man, those bottles of nail polish, those are like $30. I'm like, what the it's paint, dude. Like, I'm over here like, good lord. But so that's why he was breaking into those places, because that stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
But by like the 4th or 5th one, we're like, this is the same guy 100%. And so when we start hearing like alarm calls go out at a beauty shop, we're like, okay, we're gonna go. And this dude would run every single time.
Yeah, it was a guaranteed pursuit anytime.
And he was actually a very very good
a
at
good
driving.
driver, yeah.
But he would always have cars that were pretty quick. Like, that was his thing, is he would steal cars that were pretty quick. So he wasn't like we're chasing Honda Civics from like 1999 and stuff.
Chevy
but-
Sparks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chevy Sparks. So we end up going towards the beauty supply on one of these alarms, and then another officer finds him and starts chasing him. And this dude already knew like what to do. He'd go wrong way, black out, and just start punching it. So a lot of the pursuits would just get canceled. And it's one turned into like, the entire west side is like converging on this pursuit. And it's like it would get canceled, and then somebody would find it like a half mile away, and like, I got the car, it's going this way. They'd
Yeah.
reinitiate, and then it get canceled, and that just kept happening. And
Yeah.
our sergeant at the time is coming eastbound on the street, and then the car just blows past him westbound, and he's like, holy shit, that dude was fucking flying. And the weird part was he lived up in
He lived in
the north
yeah.
end, like where it's pretty nice, because apparently his brother got a settlement for some other shenanigans he was involved in. But it was kind of a sad day when he got arrested, because
Yeah,
It was
ended up being
guaranteed
it ended up being like a project for the shift for like a
Oh, yeah.
game. Anytime it was a 459 or anything that went out, it was just like Howard on the group text immediately. We knew where he lived, we knew where his girlfriend lived, so everybody just started flocking to an area waiting for the pursuit. Remember the last time that me and you chased him? This dude went all the way up Callaway to 7th Standard, and we're on him at this point. And like he's not that far ahead of us. And there was an East Side car who I won't say the name, but they're not the smartest guy. He gets behind us. He's a solo unit, and he's coming from the East Side, and we're deep west. And me and Fuji are number 1 chasing this dude. And he's like, oh, whatever my call sign is, I'm number 2. I'll take the radio. We look at each other, and I pick up the radio. I was like,
no.
negative. We'll maintain the radio.
We'll keep the radio.
And so we started chasing him, and that's when he passed the sergeant.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, Lord, this guy's going fast. Yeah. But how many times did we end up chasing that dude? Probably like 6, 7 times.
It was a lot, yeah. It was fun.
Yeah, he was like a mini, little Speedy. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember Speedy.
Yeah, just without the gangster part of him. The funnier thing about him always going to the beauty supplies, she was probably selling it for money, of course, but the dude was like pretty much bald. Hair. Every time we catch him on video, we're like, oh,
Where do you do all this shampoo?
he didn't get the hair growth this time. Like, what's he going to do with all this? Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah, and speaking of Jason, remember the Avalanche?
Oh, yeah. So, you want to tell that one or you want me to tell that one?
I could tell it.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So we're actually, were we East Side cars this time? No, we were West Side cars. So we're West Side cars again. And there was a offense that happened on the west side of town where random businesses again, they smashed in their truck into the side of a shop that sells like baby formula and stuff. Mm-hmm. So they go in there and they steal a bunch of baby food and they load up the back of this truck with it. And the security guard pulls up and interrupts the burglary. And so one of the dudes just cranks a round at him and tries to kill the security guard. And the dude pisses his pants and runs away. And then so we roll up to the scene, and our senior at the time was like, hey, I got it. Go find the car. Because that was always our thing. Like, oh, they'll find it. Yeah. And so the K-9 at the time ended up picking up the car on the West Side Parkway. And so he's getting off on Mohawk, and we're pulling up with California and Mohawk. So he's just bombing straight towards us. And so I think you were driving this one. Mm-hmm. So we just hang back, and we sit back, and this dude just blitzes right in front of us. And he's got like 4 or 5 cars chasing him at this point. And we're like, ooh, this is a perfect spot. Let's wait here. We're going to take this.
We already knew like where he was, where he went. The only way back out is where officers are. And we're like, he's in an avalanche. Yeah. He's going to jump this curb, and he's going to pull out right in front
so everybody's going into the parking lot. We're like, suckers.
That's a smart move.
Yeah, we're going to take
draw everybody in there.
Yeah.
And just get the,
So we're just waiting, and sure as shit, he comes flying over this curb in the grass, and he pops right in front of us, and then we're like, 1 Central 3, we got the radio. Like, so we start chasing this dude. He pops into another shopping center, and Fuji's like, he's going to do it again. They're like, we can't be those guys. Yeah. So this dude's going to the back of the shopping center trying to get us to go, so Fuji just cuts him this way and just blocks the entirety of it. And then like 2 people get out, and one of our sergeants gets out and starts chasing him. And so in California, he does like a full 360 as we're chasing this dude, and he's just spinning his truck out of control. And so I'm trying to put out the traffic, and I was like, we're setting up for east, maybe west. Hang on.
He's currently
north, I'm just waiting for him to stop spinning.
Northeast, southwest.
Yeah. And so he stops finally, and he goes down California into the Marie Callender's parking lot, and pretty much like 4 or 5 dudes just explode out of the car. Yeah. And the driver, we're like, oh, he has nowhere to go. And I don't know how he knew to get there because he wasn't a hobo.
No.
And there's this little tiny hole in the fence that he gets out and just sprints straight for it. We're like, no way. And he just face first dives through this hole in the fence. And
like,
just shoot,
you remember the Matrix? Through. In the Matrix in the beginning when Trinity jumps through the little window running from the agent? That's basically what he did through this. It was a hole like this big. I don't know how he made it through there, but he legit just dove through that, and it was wild.
Yeah, so Fuji runs after, and I was like, go, go, go. He goes, starts chasing him. There's a million cops there at this point. And then so I stay with the car. K9 pulls up, and we get the dudes out of the car. I think there's 2 more left in there. So in total, we have like 5 people in custody when it was said and done, and we had 1 outstanding. So we're walking around and just looking like, where could this guy have gone? And we're walking behind these businesses, and Fuji's like, hey, where'd that guy come from? And so we're like half a mile away from this guy, and Fuji's all, hey.
No, it wasn't a half a mile. It was like it was probably 50 feet. But he's walking, and he's looking back, and I'm doing like where did this guy come from? So it's just like looks back, I start speeding up, he starts speeding up, and it was like, God damn it, this guy's gonna run. Like, hey, motherfucker. And I start running, he starts running, and That's when everybody's
he
like,
ran up onto the
Yeah.
freeway and started running down the 99, just trying to dodge cars but can't get across. And so they ended up taking him into custody. So we're like, ooh, maybe he threw a gun.
He
back
threw a
there.
gun. Oh,
so
that's
we go back over there and we're like, why does it smell so bad over here? The dude was so scared he took a biggest shit in the fucking bushes right next to Marie Callender's.
and this wasn't like a man, this guy gets his good amount of fiber. Like this was a scared, like running from the cops kind of shit. It looked like a pile of mud, dude. I was like,
chunks
oh,
out of his ass onto the
God,
wall.
dude, like, holy crap, dude. This dude just took a fat shit.
I don't know if you remember this part, but I went over to some of the rookies over there.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, hey, I think you discarded some stuff over there. Go check it out. So we start doing our buckle swaps and stuff, and we just keep peeking. And we see like some rookies come back, and there's like this nasty look on their face, and they're like, "What's wrong with you guys?" And we're just laughing at them.
Did you find the gun or what?
You're gonna just swab that, get a sample, confirm that it's our suspect.
Oh man.
You remember when? Gosh, who was it? It wasn't Avianeta. I did it to Avia again, but there's another cop. I can't remember who it was at the time. It might have been Dixon. But fucking, we tell him, we're like, hey, we need an air sample out of this car because there was a gun. So he's over there with the buckle swab tube to put the, like the swab in the mouth in. And we're telling him, like, just collect the air in case there's any gunpowder. He's just sitting there trying to scoop air into this little tube and collect it for evidence. I don't know if we ever told him we were kidding. That's kind of our thing is we just make people do things and we never tell them we're kidding ever, and then we forget about it and they bring it up to us a way later.
Be like, oh yeah, we were fucking with you. Like, it's been 2 years. You never told me. Like, I forgot all about that.
Well, this air sample came back positive.
Like, oh shit.
Oh wow, that's a thing, huh?
It's like, hey, Junior Dixon got a commendation for getting that air sample. Like, oh shit.
You remember when we pissed our gang unit bosses off because they told us they're like, we need to go after like legit gangsters, no more getting in like GTA pursuits, which we had fun doing both. And so we're out off of Fairfax again, and we see this little shit box pass us, and we're getting ready to go to the barn. It's late again, and then we spotlight it. Dude takes off running, and we end up chasing this dude all over the place from way up in that part of the Deep 8 all the way out to like where the orchards are, like down off of like Mueller Road and stuff. And this dude, I have never seen this in my life, but so on the corner of Mueller and South Fairfax, there's this gigantic berm. It was probably like
It's like
5 to 6 feet high.
It was weird because it's like they were making the berms around the orchard, but it was like that was like the excess dirt. Like you could tell like a bulldozer had like pushed it, making the berms all around the orchard. But that was kind of like the excess pile of dirt. There was like a large buildup of dirt on this corner.
So they basically made it jump for the dude.
Nice.
And he loses it and just hits this thing square. And you would expect the front end to like dig into the dirt and him just like come to a halting stop.
It had been packed or something.
This dude just absolutely hit this thing like it was a BMX ramp and just launches him over like 3 sets of trees.
Yeah, he
and we're
like,
behind
he
him
cleared.
just watching this freaking car just fly through the air. And we're like, oh my God. He lands and we're like, he lands like straight into a tree.
That dude is dead.
Yeah, we're like, he's
dead.
Yeah. So we jump out of the car and we start running up there, and we see the driver doors open, and then we just see dust like kicking up in front of the car, and we're like, there's no way he's running. So we hit a light and we just see a little shadow figure just taking off. We're like, this
Like, how the hell did he survive that, dude?
So we had a perimeter set around this like 5-acre freaking almond orchard. And me and Fuji are in there like digging, crawling up in trees where we think he might have gone. And we never found that guy. I feel like he earned his freedom on that one.
Yeah.
He took a ride of his life.
People always get away in the orchards.
Always. Yeah, but our bosses were like, who was it? And we're like, it was a Lamont gangster.
You should have said
He was
it was
that guy.
it was just some dude that was high on meth in a stolen car. Yeah, that was a pretty good one. Yeah, Fuji got real mad at me one time. We were driving up in like the high part of D8, coming up to Bernard, and it's like pretty late again. This is when it always seems to happen to us. Is like right as we're about to go home.
or Jack in the Box.
Yeah, or Jack in the Box. And Fuji's complaining the whole time, like he's so tired, and he's like, I have PT in like 3 hours.
No, I was not in 3 hours. It was literally like, was bleeding into the shift. I was like, I have to be back at the station.
He had to go straight from work into PT, and then because he's on the PT staff, and then he's like, "Can we please head in?" And I was like, yeah, let me run this truck real quick. So we get behind this truck, and it wasn't stolen or anything. So I was like, all right, we're good. So I start messing with it, flash my spotlight at it, and I'm looking at Fuji, and he's like, stop. And I'm like, okay.
Knock it off.
I just keep
Knock
doing
it
it.
off, dude.
He's like, dude, I have to go home. I'm serious. I have to be back at work in just a little bit.
PT at 7
He's so
o'clock.
mad. So I was like, I'm just going to see what happens. And I throw the lights on, and the wheels just start going. And we start chasing this. And I'm driving, and Fuji's just not saying a word. He's not putting anything out. And I'm chasing these dudes in circles all over the place.
mad.
I look at Fuji, and he's just staring at me like this. He's like, and I was like, dude, put it out. He's like, I hate you.
Not participating in this.
I'm gonna put it out, not because you told me, but because that's what we should do.
Yeah.
Fucker. There you go.
Long story short of that, we chased that thing to the end of the earth up into the trailer parks of the heart of the Dale. And 4 14-year-olds all foot bail
It was all kids.
into a trailer.
I was like, this wasn't even worth it. Like,
And then so we're like, I'm like, ooh, maybe they did something. They went into that trailer. Let's paper the trailer. And then our boss comes over. He's like, we're going to paper it. And Fuji's just staring at me. And I'm like, no. They didn't throw anything. I think that was the most mad you've ever been at me for that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I did not make it to PT that morning. So
Yeah, he still brings that up all the time. That's a sore subject for
he
him.
brings it up. I don't bring it up.
I think it's funny.
Chasing legit gangsters.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 14-year-olds are gang members too, from all the with Justin Bieber hair. It's the Beliebers 13.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we had quite a few experiences of not chasing gang members. We had a really good gang arrest too, but some of them were just tweakers that felt like running from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seemed to be the get down. It was a lot of fun though.
Nice. Cool. All right, that was a good time, guys. Thank you for coming out. Thanks, Colton. Thanks, Fuji. Thank you for everyone for listening, and stay frosty.